Hello everybody and welcome to episode 2 of our rFactor 2 career mode / learning playthrough. Today we're diving into our very first full racing weekend in rFactor 2 and I can't wait to get behind the wheel. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and choose our car's livery for this season. Now, as you can see right now, I've got quite a few options and off the rip I see quite a few solid contenders. But I think after looking at all of my options, I'm going to go ahead and go with the one that you see right now on the screen, this nice little blue-green combo. It was giving me some huge Fast and Furious Eclipse vibes, and you know I had to pick that one. So now that we've got our livery all set up, let's go ahead and show the layout for our first weekend. So we've got a full practice session, full qualifying session, and a race with no warm-up. And if you look down here at AI drivers, we've got a full grid for you guys, 15 other people on track with us. It's probably going to be crazy, and first race of the season is going to bring us to Brands Hatch, a very technical British circuit with a lot of blind corners, and we're going to see how we tackle it for our first race of the series. Going to go ahead and look over some of the details of the qualifying and the race real quick. You'll see weather and other essential things like that, and I'll catch y'all on the racetrack. Alright, so as we leave the pits here for our first laps of Brands Hatch, let's go ahead and talk about our ride for this season. This is the 2010 Clio Cup car. It's a 2-liter inline-4 front-wheel drive race car, and I mean race car in the realest sense. It may not look like anything like a GT3 or a Formula 1 car, but this thing is fully gutted, it's got a full roll cage, and it only weighs about 2,400 pounds for the 210 horsepower that it makes. That power-to-weight ratio allows a really fun car that you can kind of just throw around the track, and it will usually be pretty cooperative, but if you want to master it, you need to learn the ins and outs and entries, and especially dealing with front-wheel drive cars, we're going to be plagued with understeer that we're going to have to learn to adapt to. But as we come out for our first laps of practice on this track, let's see how we can do. So as y'all have already seen, this track has a lot of elevation changes and a lot of very sharp corners. We have that huge downhill right-hander right at the start of the lap, right into a hairpin, right into a sharp left, and down this little mini straight, again, another sharp left. Now, getting the line right for this turn is very crucial to your lap times on this track. As you see right now, we're going down a very long back straight. Especially in cars like the Cup car, you don't make enough power to just absolutely haul down these back straights, so you entering with as much speed as possible will gain you so much time over the course of a lap. And now again, uphill braking into a very blind right-hand corner. Getting used to just sending it into that corner at high speed, as you'll see a little bit later, takes some getting used to. Again, this corner right here, very sharp right-hander, relatively blind. You have to send it into that one as well. And look at the elevation changes that I talked about. There's a lot of hills downhill into an uphill braking zone, into a turn that you can't see until you crest. This is a turn, or a track rather, that requires a lot of commitment and understanding of the car. You have to just send it into these blind corners and hope that you get it right. And as we come into our first flying lap, we're going to see how we do and how we get used to everything. So you'll see we try to get a late apex on this corner as well to keep speed. This is technically the main straight if you want to call it a straight. You end up taking it flat out anyways. And this is the finish line right here. As you see, our lap time starts in our little thing in the middle of our screen there. It's hard braking into this first corner, and it's a downhill right-hander. In the front-wheel drive, understeer is your biggest enemy in that corner. You understeer into that grass, it's going to mess your day up. And as you brake into this hairpin right here, second gear became what I like to take this in. If there's a faster way to take it, I didn't find it. But you try to hug that inside line, brake on the outside. Don't touch the grass so you don't spin out like that. And as you can see, this lap is already looking rough. But this is our first session in the car. We're not looking to be Max Verstappen out here. We're just trying to get used to the car, how it feels, specifically on this track, and we're going to see how it goes. Again, you see I go pretty wide at the apex there and end up using all of the track, but I couldn't have been going as fast as I could have, and if this were a timed lap, it would probably be pretty pathetic compared to what the AI are about to set. And you see this long back straight for a car like this. We're on the gas for a while. I found braking at that last board helped me towards the beginning of some of these runs, hard on the brakes, shift down to fourth, send it into that corner. But as this video goes on, you'll see me start taking that with a lot more confidence. This one, braking hard into fourth and just throwing it around, that kind of became the go-to for this entire session. Speed increased eventually. Going up this hill right here, hard on the brakes into fourth, send it around, try to clip that curb, use all the track. That's pretty standard throughout this video too. And then hard braking into this last corner. And you want to hug that inside apex to keep speed throughout that entire corner. And I was wrong. That was not the last corner. It's the second to last. We've got one more ahead of us. End of another mini straight. Hard on the brakes. Try to touch that inside line, then cut all the way back out. minimizing steering angle and front wheel drive cars is the name of the game, because like I said, you'll hear me say it 1,000 times today, understeer will ruin your day. So the less you have to be on the power while steering and just stressing those tires, the vehicle is just going to be a lot happier with you. As you see coming into turn 1 again, not much time gain, about 0.05 of a second. Hard into the braking zone here, it's down to second, try to hug that little line on the inside. And our time is actually going down quite a bit. We kept way less speed coming through there. We're going to try and catch it up through this lap, hard on the brakes on that curve, use all the track, cut inside, then outside, maybe a little too much track, but look at that timer go up. We took that way faster because we didn't spin out this time. Coming in here, hard on the brakes, try to stick the outside of the track, then shoot it left for a later apex. Again, a little too much speed, but we get on the gas anyways, and look at the timer. Pretty much consistent with the speed we had last lap. Our lap's looking the exact same, and we're just going to go ahead and park it, pedal to the middle for a couple seconds, catch our breaths, and now you're looking for that last board. Hard on the brakes. We're going to try 5th gear this time. A little wide at the apex, and we don't use all the track. Could have used a little bit more curve there, so overall a decent turn, but we're still 2 seconds up on our original time, and that is a track limits evaluation. Yeah, so this lap is not going to count. Like I said in the first video, the stewards are not that resilient, and I'm going to go ahead and lose that lap, which is a shame because I am in 14th place right now, and the only reason I'm not dead last is because those 2 guys haven't set a time. So not looking fantastic to start our career off, but the potential is obviously there because we've got, as we saw, 2 seconds to gain on our previous time. So we can just put one together without completely binning it off the track again. We should be in a good spot. So coming down the front straight one more time, we're going to try and not bin it this time or get eliminated for track violations. Coming into the first downhill right turn, try to clip that apex and then shoot out to the outside, find that middle ground between sending it into the sand and actually staying on track. We're up at almost 2/10 there on our fastest lap, and throughout the hairpin lose so much time, but then the faster exit nets us a little bit of that time back. We're going to brake hard on the right hand side of the track. Ideally we want to cut left and hit that apex. The out in out method is usually the way to go for those very sharp turns, but as you see, we're up a second, pretty much a second here because we didn't spin again. And then getting on the power for this back straight, using all of that curve there, end up being a little bit slower as you see time is slowly ticking down as far as how much faster we are. But we're going to get ready to brake hard into this very fast blind right turn. A little bit later than the board, down into 5th again. Try to hug the right side of the track and then cut it once we know we're going to make it, and we're up 1.6 seconds. Brake hard into 4th gear, out in out once again through that corner, and we are up almost 1.6 seconds here. We're going to brake uphill once again, down into 4th gear, send it through that corner, and we took way too much speed, end up understeering, and we just have no problem taking out that sign. No one needs that, and that lap was one to forget, but we didn't get track limits for that because we lost time, and we are still up a second. Shows you how bad that first flying lap was. We're still up a second after that foolishness. We're going to come down the front straight once again, still up a second, and see if that nets us something better than 14th. Let's go ahead and find out right now. And, well, that's a little disheartening. We are still 14th place, so we're going to try to improve as always. Once again, into this downhill right turn, first turn of the track. Keep decent speed through there, pretty much locked with our current fastest time. We're going to brake at the first board on that right-hand side, down into second. Try to hit that inside apex. A lot of understeer because we carried a bit too much speed. Still pretty much even on our fastest lap. Cut to the right, brake hard, out, in, and out. Got on the power a little early there. Had to fight some understeer on the way out, but look at that. We are up half a second going into this notoriously late apex onto the back straight. Try to keep it towards the right-hand side, get the car slowed down, cut that left side very late, and shoot it back for the curb. And look at that timer. That's what we were aiming for. Slowly climbing down this back straight. Might be up to a full second faster by the time we get to this next braking zone. We're going to see. Maybe not. Once again, look for that very last board. A little bit after it, hard on the brakes, shut it down to 5th gear. Yeah, and then in, and then out using all of the track, maintaining our about a second advantage. Once again, at the sign, brake hard into 4th, use all of the track. And then, once again, we're going to lock in this uphill braking zone. You need to be very consistent so you don't understeer like last lap. We're going to see if we get it right. definitely better than last lap, maintain our speed, and look at that timer. It's just going to shoot up, hard braking into third gear, carry a lot of speed, and it's just, as soon as we get one turn right, it seems like we're going to mess up the next one because we keep pushing faster and faster, and we are losing so much time. Might still end up with a faster lap. We're going to see how we hit this last turn. A little bit of understeer yet again. We might have still had some sand on the tires. Yeah, look at that. A lot of understeer. That timer is just going to fall all the way down. And let's see how much faster we end up being here. We go from 16th to 12th. Oh, all right. So now we're fighting the pack. If you look in the bottom right, you can see we are 12th place with a 144.8. But 11th place is only 1/10 in front of us, almost 2/10, and 10th place is just about 2/10 in front of us. So we're just hunting for the cents now as we just absolutely butcher that first corner. And that's a great segue into the fact that we are going to skip the next couple of laps because these next laps were very rough. So we're going to cut to me going to the pits, getting some new tires, coming out with a fresh mindset, and see if we can maybe improve on 12th place. All right, so now as we're coming out of the pits, we're going to see, we got a fresh mindset. We're going to get some fresh tires in the car. We're going to come back out here and see if we can improve on 12th place because before we start focusing on overall race pace and just getting used to the track competitively over distance, I really wanted to make sure that we were locked in and could set a time way better than 12th. The bar was low because that's our first race, but second half of the pack is a little too low. So here we come out, first warm-up lap. This game, very unforgiving on tire pressure. You'll see this very commonly throughout this entire series. These first laps, I'm going to be taking it pretty conservatively, as you'll see if I don't. Just a lot of understeer. The car does not want to turn in, especially on front-wheel drive cars, especially on cold tires. I might as well be driving a shopping cart. These things are rough, and that is pretty accurate to real life despite what people think. So these first laps, it's just get temperature into the tires, don't push, don't get them dirty again so we don't go off track, because if you get your tires dirty, it can just ruin your day. But as we're coming down this back straight, we're looking to optimize our racing line for the entire lap. As you see, we've had a couple sections where we just nail a turn, our timer shoots up, and then the next turn we just bin it into the sand. So it's all about full lap focus, because in order to finish first you must finish. So we want to make sure that we're consistent while maintaining speed and not crashing the car, because obviously that would ruin our day. Now, coming in towards the second half of the track here, getting ready to go on our first flying lap after the pit stop. 12th place, like we said, not ideal. And in this bottom right, you'll see some info about the car, like stop, go, fuel, that stuff. I don't know how to turn that off, so you're not going to be able to see the times of the cars at the moment, but you'll see at the end here. Let's get ready to lock in for this flying lap. Come out of the final turn, try to maintain speed, coming down, hard charging. We're going to get all the way to the top of 6th gear, and now we just got to get ready to go into this first downhill right. Let's see how we do. Hard on the brakes, down into 4th, go wide left, cut wide, clip that apex, on the gas as soon as you know we're going to make it. Actually could have kept a little bit more speed. We're down 2/10. Look for that braking zone a little bit before that turn. Hard in the second. Gonna ride this hairpin. Again, not great speed. Flying lap number 1 not looking great as we're down half a second. Let's see if we can make up some time elsewhere. Pretty decent line through this turn. That's a little bit of improvement so far on this session, but the timer doesn't reflect it that much. We're gonna see if we can nail it coming into this back straight right here. Get on the brakes, aim for that later apex. Could have swung it a little bit more, but we kept decent speed. And look in our rearview mirror, you'll actually see people behind us here. This, in real time, served as motivation for me. I was like, all right, it's kind of like when you're running outside and you think, if I don't get to that tree before that car, I'm going to die. That's exactly what we're doing here. If those cars catch up to me, I'm going to die. And we kick it into overdrive here. We're still down half a tenth, but we're not okay with it. We want to improve. Let's see what we can do here. This really deceivingly fast right-hander, all of the track. We see no improvement so far. We're actually level with our fastest lap for most of this lap besides our really bad first sector. So that's something to note. Gain about 1/10 through that corner right there. Hard on the brakes into the second to last corner. Really get close to the apex and just shoot through. Coming into this little mini straight here, and now you see the timer just dropping. That one turn saved us so much time because we butchered it last time. And then quite a bit understeer into the final turn. So far, it's quite the trend of getting a corner right and then just absolutely murdering the next one. But we're going to see if we can stop doing that. As we do gain about 2/10, we go from 12th to 11th, so still an improvement. One more flying lap. Again, outside on the left, cut to the right, clip that apex. When you know you're going to make it, just pedal to the metal. charge down this hill, and you see now we're up almost 3/10 into the braking zone of this hairpin. Get it down in a second, get that car parked, try to ride that apex. Now we're going to cut back. Now we're up half a second, 6/10, really flying on this lap. Try to maintain a good line. We don't want to see that timer, because as you're racing, you see that timer, you see you're on a good lap, and sometimes it's easy to get in your head and think, oh man, I got to keep pushing because I'm so far up ahead. You got to stay focused. You got to stay locked in. We could have gotten a much later apex there, but we hit it, use all of the track, and now look at that timer, climbing just a little bit, up 4/10 down this back straight. We are on a banger, potentially, if we can hold it together. One more time down this back straight. We're going to look for that final board, brake just a little bit after it, down into 5th. We decide to stay in 5th, hug that apex, and then swing it wide all of the track so that we can keep that foot pinned, still up half a second. One more time, braking before the sign, down into 4th, send it around that corner, all of the track there, and still up half a second. So we should see quite the improvement in position if we can maintain this lap. Again, down into 4th, swing it around here, touch the grass again, not losing time. Track limits, not going to get called on us because we lost time. We're up 7/10 because we kept our momentum. No track limits, kept our speed, and we are still up 6/10. This lap has potential. One more corner to get through. Just focus on your braking line. Make sure you make it. Don't do anything dumb. Use all the track on the exit, and we used all of the track there, and look at that. We might cross a line up 7/10 here. We do maybe 8/10 if we keep charging, and that is first place on quite the sketchy lap towards the end there. So at this moment in the race, I thought, okay, if we're in first place, decently into practice, on a lap like that, we're good. So for the rest of this practice session, I didn't do anything crazy, no pushing, just making sure that I stayed consistent. And y'all don't want to watch me do 25 laps of mid-tier pace. So we're going to go ahead and skip to something that I noticed after this practice session. I realized that you can live spectate the other racers, and I'll go ahead and go into detail when we cut to that footage. So let's do that real quick. So now you'll see the mid-practice session kind of interface here. As you can see, we see everybody else on the track with us, everyone racing with us this weekend. You can see their current position, their gap to our time, their best lap, how many laps they've done, all sorts of good stuff like that. And who we're going to be focusing on is who you see racing right now, this guy, Luke Van Camp. He is slower than me, but I noticed something when looking at his times. His first sector times were consistently better than mine. In fact, if we go ahead and look at him right now, look at his lap 3, the one highlighted in green there. He had a 29.584 first sector, and a lot of his first sectors were pretty low into those 29s, whereas if you go to mine, my fastest first sector was a 29.7. So he's got about 2/10 on me in this first sector, and I got lucky here. As I go to spectate him, he's actually coming into this first sector right now. So right there, a little wider than I take it, but still uses all of the track. And then coming into the first hairpin right here, he gets on his brakes, and look at how he just rides that white line. He gets that car slowed down just enough, a little bit of tire smoke, but no big deal. And then right after that, doesn't use all of the track, so he can set himself up for that out-in-out method I've been talking about all video. And it looks like the main difference between us is just smoothness. Now, I wanted to spectate him for one more lap, but he had a little bit of an incident. Let's go ahead and check that out. So, end of the lap that we just skipped. As you can see, he's right on this guy in front of him. Now, that might mess up his times a little bit. So, as I would think, if you're faster than this guy, even if you're in practice, you want to get around. You see him kind of thinking about that overtake on the inside, decides not to. Right behind him through this final turn. There might have actually been contact. They were right on each other. This guy's a contender, I can tell. Look at the way he's racing. Thinks about a move around the outside one more time. Gets back into that slipstream, and I'm thinking, all right, let's watch this first sector. He's going to go around this guy, no problem. Let's gather some information. Goes for the move on the outside and just gets that wheel in the sand. And, well, that's it for Van Camp. No more information to be gained from that guy, so we're just going to go ahead and jump straight into qualifying. I thought I had a good source of information there. I learned a little bit about that first sector, but at this point I figured, all right, let's just go ahead and jump into qualifying, and that's exactly what we did. All right, so you saw that little cut in the camera there. I actually made a change to the car. If you look at our middle HUD, you'll see that the car only has 6 laps of fuel. And if you look on the top HUD, you'll see that we have 0.0 out of 3 laps completed. Now, what that means is that we have 3 laps on track to set our fastest time. But we need an out lap and we need an in lap. So if you're not that good at math, let me explain it for you. We get one shot, one flying lap to determine who's on pole, who's starting at the bottom, We're going to hope we're not the latter. We're going to go out there, try to get our tires warmed up, try not to get them dirty, and hope that this goes well for us. Now, while we're warming up the car, I wanted to talk to y'all real quick about this qualifying format. As I talked about a little bit in the first episode, rFactor doesn't have a set career mode. This is not some sort of game mode that I'm playing. All of these championships, all of these races, all of the settings are custom made by me. So if you guys don't like this qualifying format and you maybe want to see a longer, more traditional session, like a 15-minute, 20-minute, etc. qualifying session, feel free to let me know. I can tweak just about everything about what you're seeing right now. So let me know down below. One more time into the back straight. Like I said, we're trying not to get the tires dirty, being relatively conservative. You can see right here, I shift down to fifth and go wide here, and I let off instinctively, but I realized I could have used more track. And then again, right here, down into fourth, I kind of just sent it into that corner, and I realized, oh yeah, I'm driving a car with about 15, 20 laps less fuel than I was used to. I can kind of throw this thing around. Now, will that affect me negatively, and will I get false confidence? Well, that's TBD. I'm not going to spoil that for y'all. Now we're going to get ready to lock in, down this little final mini straight, up into sixth gear, maybe, no, keep it in fifth, down into fourth, hug this corner, and I'm optimizing exit because I want to be going as fast as possible when I cross this finish line. You see I dragged out fourth gear there. I'm going to use all the track here so I'm going faster when I cross the line, over the line. This is our one shot, hard braking down into fourth. Does the pressure get to us? We'll see so far. A little shaky through this first corner, very lack of confidence on the throttle coming out of there. Hopefully our time isn't that bad. Into this braking zone of the first hairpin, down into second. We're going to try and use what we learned. Just ride that turn slowly and then power out of it. Not the ideal line, but decent speed. Cut to the right, brake in a straight line, down into third, out in and out once again, using all of the track there, keeping decent speed. Down into this late apex corner, we're going to see how good our line is, see if the pressure gets to us. Once again, down into third. Let's see how we do. A little wide at the apex, but we are floored, and we're keeping decent speed. Now, down this back straight, I see a car in front of me, and I personally, as a racer, love when someone is in front of me in the distance because that is my goal. I don't care about times. I don't care about anything. I'm getting close to that guy, no matter what. We don't care that it's qualifying. Down into fifth, once again. A little bit too early of an apex, have to let go so we don't understeer off track, but we keep it on. One more time, hard braking into fourth, send it around this corner. Just look at the confidence throwing that car in there. And we've already gained quite a bit of space on this car in front of us. Whether he's trying or not, we don't care. That's our goal. Braking hard one more time into fourth gear. Kept decent line through there. One more time with a really important braking zone. We want to slow in, fast out to maintain speed down this final straight. And look at this. We are gaining on that car in front of us. Maybe this lap is the one. Maybe this is a good lap. Down into fourth. And now it's just pedal to the metal. One more straight to go. Can we get pole position, or at least theoretical pole? Let us see. We're in fourth right now. And that's first. Will we hold it? We're going to find out. Because people are completing their laps as we speak. But starting in first, 4 people have set a lap. Oh, only 4 people. Oh, 5 people were still in first. Oh, my God. Luke Van Camp is 600ths behind us. And then third place is a 10th. Fourth place is a 10th. And, okay. Well, we had pole for a little bit, guys. Second place. Let's hope it doesn't get worse than that. And at this point, as you see, I go off the track. I'm actually watching these timing boards as I drive. And this is right here is a great ad for not texting and driving, because I'm looking at these boards so much. I understeer so bad. I have to take the exit road. Off track. Here we go. And yeah, got quite distracted. It's my first weekend. There's a lot going on. I got a little overwhelmed. Luckily, I didn't actually crash the car. We're going to wait for these cars to go by so we don't join unsafely. And let's just go ahead and cut to the end of this session because there's nothing else we can do. And let's see where we end up placing. All right, coming into the pits at the end of the session, we're looking at the timing boards here. And it looks like we held on to second place. Barely held on to the track there. Almost hit the wall in the pits. That would have been quite embarrassing. But we're going to go ahead and stop up here in our pit box, see what happens at the end of the session. As you see, we're going to go ahead and load in here through this straight to the pit box animation. That's what we like to see, efficiency. And yeah, looking at it right now, still in second place, and everyone near us, for the most part, has completed their flying lap, which means second place is most likely where we are going to end up. Now, looking at this grid, looks a little different than practice. Looks like some of these guys turn it on in qualifying, whereas others play it a little safer. and I want you to take note of 2 names as we're looking at the list. 8th place, Scott Giuliano. That guy's a problem. I'm just kidding. He's not a dirty racer, but he will make quite the charge through the field in the race. No major spoilers, but keep an eye out for that orange car. And actually, the guy who qualified right behind us, 3rd place, and Jean-Luc Camp, or Luc Van Camp. I'm not looking at his name as I'm recording this, so I hope I'm not butchering that. He's in the blue car, up there in 3rd place. He's going to make a move on us early in this race. A lot of movers, a lot of shakers, but we're looking to be the best. And I want y'all to get ready. As we load into this race here, rFactor does not give you any, there's no loading animation, there's no nothing. The second you hit drive, you are locked in. So I wanted to give you all a little bit of a warning before this race gets started, because things are going to get real quick. But like I said, look out for that orange car in 8th place. Look out for that blue and white car that's most likely going to be starting 3rd. And we're going to go ahead and load into the race here and see what happens. All right, so first things first, we're going to adjust our setup. We're going to go ahead and put some more fuel in the car. We're going to give it 13 liters or about 12 laps. Now, this is a 10-lap race, but it's my first race. I'm scared of running out of fuel, truth be told. But enough yapping. Let's lock in for the race, because I said as soon as I hit this drive button, boom, we are in formation lap. No time to think, just get ready to act. Starting in 2nd, early on the gas on the green flag, and look at that, already up into 1st place. Caught the whole pack sleeping on that green light. We're going to charge down this main straight. And as we were in 1st, our mentality is we got 1st off the start. Hold your racing line, hold your speed, and just try to hold out as long as possible. Ideally, hold it until we win the race. So let's see what happens. Going into the first big braking zone at this hairpin. Going to hold our racing line as we have all weekend. And look at the pack right behind us. And look at Van Camp. Right there in 3rd place, that blue and white car. He's going to do something crazy here in a second. You see him sniffing for that 2nd place spot. He's not really thinking about me as I'm holding my line. 2nd place actually tries to go around the outside, realizes I'm going to cut it back because of the racing line, and just eases off, giving Van Camp the run on the inside. He's going to try and get him into this turn right here. Late on the brakes, soars past me. 2nd place actually gives me contact, bumps me. And now look at that. We get settled, remain in 1st after all that kerfuffle, and we're going to maintain our lead down the straight and see what happens. All right, high speed at the end of this big straight in the back. As always, look for our braking zone on the left-hand side. Hard on the brakes into 5th gear. Going to go in at the apex and then shoot it across all the track. And look at the pack right behind us. Psych! Cut that footage out. We don't need that anymore. We're going to lock in. Just focus on the 1st person. And track limit warning. You see there, 0.75 points out of 5. If I get to a full 5, I will gain some sort of time penalty or maybe drive-through penalty. But we do not want to find that out this weekend, so TBD what happens if I reach that magic 5. And now you see a little bit of understeer through that 2nd to last turn there, losing a little bit of time, but now for the rest of the race, we just need to lock in, hold our racing line. That's exactly what we're going to try and do. Coming to the end of the 1st lap of the race here again, a little bit of understeer. I might have gotten too used to the car during the qualifying format. I added a little bit more fuel to the car. Tires might not be warm, but here we go, into lap 2. Let's see what we can do. Down the front straight, into the braking zone, hard on the brakes, into 4th. Look for that apex a little bit later than you'd think, and then hard on the gas once you know you're going to make that turn. Using all of the track there. Once again, into the big braking zone before the board, down into 2nd, and just park it here. Slow turn, especially in front-wheel drive. Just all about patience. Get on the gas as soon as you can. And once again, just find our racing line. Right side of the track. Could have used a bit more. And we're going to cut back to the 3rd person because Van Camp is right there. He's hunting for us, and he knows that we are vulnerable. Now we're going to come into this turn right here. We're going to hold our line because we don't really see him there. And one more time, he's going to send it on the inside, and we got contact. I guess our spotter was taking a nap because I had no idea that he was there when this race was happening. And look at this, down the back straight. He's going to try and think about it, but I think that bump had him worse off than I was, and I hold my 1st place coming down the end of this back straight. And now once again, into the braking zone to the top of the hill, hard on the brakes, into 5th. This is routine at this point. In and out, all of the track, pedal to the metal. We want to maintain as much speed as possible into the 2nd high-speed corner, down into 4th this time. Playing it a little bit safer on the entry as I don't want to get another penalty, but we actually used quite a bit of track. And now, once again, back to the racing line. It's all about switching between your mentalities during out the race. If you're battling, you're battling. If there's no one in front of you, it's just pure racing line, pure speed. Just find your groove and go after it. Anybody that's watched cars know that if you can come back from a lap down in Talladega, anything is possible, right? So here we are, 1st place. Our goal right now is to separate ourselves from the packs as much as possible. And you see that little tracker on the top HUD of our screen? that one is me, and all of those blues together are the pack. They look so condensed like that because there's 15 people right next to each other, but we want to be separated from that pack. And look at that, probably about, realistically about 5/10 behind the pack, or the pack is behind us. And coming into lap 3 here, we're already up 3/10 on our fastest lap, and that's what we're going to be pushing for. We want to see that light be green the entire time so that we can separate ourselves from the pack as much as possible. Now, you look at that purple lap on the bottom, that's the fastest lap of the race. And you'll see our fastest lap right now is a 1:44.7. So someone on this track has already lapped faster than us, meaning that we need to improve if we want to win. Coming into this late apex corner onto the back straight, we're about 4/10 up. Into the braking zone, I lose a bit of time, probably braked earlier than usual, but then look at the time gained because I maximized my exit speed, and so much for that. Almost get another warning there, but we lose time there. We're actually losing quite a bit of time, but that's okay. Just one more thing to remember throughout the race, as once again, we're going to come into this high-speed corner, hope that we can get our act together, hard on the brakes, in the 5th, and we don't turn the car in as aggressively as we could, and look at that. Kind of wide at the apex, not maintaining much speed through there. We're losing time, although minuscule. One more time into the second high-speed corner. A very big lack of confidence coming into there, and look at that. Now we're down to about a 10th. Classic case of overdriving mixed with lack of confidence. Maybe it's because of our little mishap last lap. We don't know, but we need to focus if we want to improve. As now we are down 2/10 coming into the second to last corner. Try and get our line right, improve there. Now we're back up to right about even in the grand scheme of things as we come into the final little back straight before the next lap. We got one more braking zone and maybe get some time back. Let's see what happens. Hard on the brake into 4th. Try and find that apex. A little bit of understeer yet again, but get on the gas as soon as possible. And yeah, looks like we're going to cross a lap here about even with our previous one. And let's see if lap 4 goes a little bit better for us. Once again, crossing that main straight. Hard in the braking zone as we got this downhill right coming up. Tried to get on the gas earlier. And almost get in the sand there, but we avoid it. And now we're up about 3/10 into the big braking zone. One more time, slow around the hairpin, still up 2/10, just finding our line on the gas as early as possible, cut wide. And now we want to cut back to the inside, hard on the brakes, out and in and out, using all of the track. Look at that time gain. That's 6/10 and 3 corners now that we've really locked in here. One more time, hard into the braking zones, hunting for that later apex. We're going to find it early on the gas, using all of the track here, losing a little bit because of track limits. We actually touched the grass just a little bit, but not too much to get a penalty. And look at that, 8/10 down the back straight, losing a little bit of speed because we got on the grass there, but we are still up. Let's see if we can keep our momentum going here into the braking zone, right at the sign there, brake early. So early, I actually go into 4th, and that's just a lot of time lost. Not quite sure why I shifted into 4th there, lost quite a bit of time, but we're still up 4/10. Let's see if we can make it up into this turn yet again. Stay in 4th. And we're still up 3/10. So again, just focus is the name of the game here. We want to keep that timer green at all times so that we can distance ourselves from the pack. Easiest way to stay in front is to drive as fast as possible without hurting the car. And that's that balance that we're going to look for. As you saw a glimpse in the mirror there, the pack is still right behind us, but we are separating. Coming into this final little straight one more time. Got one more turn to go before we start our next lap. Hard on the brakes, into 4th. Look for that apex. Swing a little wide, understeer just a little bit, but we keep our momentum up. And now we're just going to hard charge past this finish line going into lap 5. Let's see if we can keep the momentum going. We're staying pretty consistent with our fastest laps right now, but obviously we want to improve. Speaking of improvement, this next lap actually ends up being a pretty good one for us, and I realized I've been commentating this entire time, so for this next lap, I'm just going to let y'all listen to the raw audio so we can see what it sounds like when you're really pushing the car. And one more time coming down this back straight, we're actually going to throw up the third-person camera again for you guys. And look at that, crossing the line up a 2 2/10 from our fastest lap. An absolute banger compared to our other ones. One more time, braking into the downhill right turn. Clip a lot of curb, and now we're going to unsettle the car, understeer into the sand trap here. And now we've got dirt on our tires. We're going to try and slow it down. We're going to swerve around this corner. Whoa, whoa. A lot of understeer. Now hold on tight because we're still in first place and won't let it go. But look at this. Second place catches up to us super quick. And this is the guy I mentioned earlier. He's climbed all the way up from 8th place, now into second, challenging me because of my mistake. We're lucky the car doesn't take any major damage here. And he is right behind us coming into this late apex corner. We're going to go on the brakes. He's going to send it down the inside. Takes us our position. We're going to try and get the immediate switch back, and we take him right back. But he is still right on us coming into this back straight. He's going to try and get into the slipstreams here right behind us. He's going to try and get as close to us as possible, maybe try to send it into this corner. We're going to see what he does. We're just going to maintain our racing line, however, as we have all weekend. Hard braking at the last board, down into 5th. Very close behind us there. We're going to find our apex on the inside and then get on the power and shoot to the outside. And through this corner right here, same thing. Hard on the brakes, into 4th. Send it in. Use all of the track. We maintain a lot more speed than he does through that corner. And look at the gap. It's already formed itself. Once again, we've got a little bit of separation, but not that much. One more time into these blind corners. Throw it in 4th gear. Hope that it sticks. And now look at that separation. We have a little bit of a gap. We know we take this corner quite well compared to the other drivers. And we're going to hard charge into this last corner of the track. Now, we know that first place is pivotal here because championship, as short as this one and only 5 races, every race counts. So if we lose first place because of a mistake here, that's going to be a big blow for our mental. Let's see if we can hold on here. Coming into the main straight, he's right behind us. Is he going to look at a dive bomb into this first corner? You see he's taking a different line than I am. I'm hard on the brakes on the outside. He comes up behind me, very close there. Maybe a little bit of contact. As you see, my car is unsettled as we're going to go downhill, shoot it up this uphill. I'm going to find my braking line. I brake hard. He comes into the back of me, unsettles my car, shoots me out of the way, and now it's personal. Now we need to hunt for this take back. And you see now, I'm going to go back to the racing line. He's going to stay towards the inside of the track to defend his line, upsets his braking, understeers a little bit. I get a little bit of a quicker exit to get me right back on his bumper going into this little mini straight here. Am I going to go for the overtake? I'm going to make him think about it, but no, I keep my line. He understeers quite a bit. He maintains speed. Mind throwing him off by being that close. We're going to get a little bit of a better exit and look at this down the back straight, back to back, side by side, 100 miles an hour. Who is going to break first into this corner? Who's going to give it up? Because I'm not giving him the space. He knows he can't cut across unless he wants to get sent into a wall. And who's going to come into this braking zone with more gusto? I actually brake a little bit earlier. He goes around me. I cut inside, get on the power early, over the curb, get that position back, and now we are back into first. But we know we need to hold this position one more time, sending it into this corner. All of the track being used here. I want to hold on to this position. Just because we got the move done doesn't mean it's over with. As you saw, he caught us quite quickly coming down that front straight last lap. We need to separate ourselves and form a gap once again as soon as possible. And he gets a little squirrely onto the grass there. That might have given us the break that we needed. That little bit of a mess up from him with us going as fast as possible might give us our distance back to just smooth sail back to the end of this race. But we're going to see what happens. One more time into the final corner, hard braking into 4th, and we know we need to keep our momentum so that we don't have to fight for position again, because look at that. These last 2 laps have been significantly slower than our fastest, because when you are fighting with someone, you are getting thrown off the racing line. So now that there's a clear track in front of us, we need to keep our head down, our foot down, and we need to go as fast as possible. One more time, hunting for a good line, coming into this downhill section, right into the uphill and this hairpin. We're going to go hard on the brakes. You see we're up a couple hundredths on our fastest lap, and if we can maintain this fastest lap pace, we are going to be okay. One more time. Let's see how well we can do through this middle section. This has kind of been a tricky one for us as far as consistency goes, and once again, understeer. And now we're going to blame the understeer on the fact that the tires are screaming for help. This is a front-wheel drive car, and it's a relatively high-speed circuit for a car this slow. So these front tires are aching bad, because they are the only ones putting in work realistically. And I can tell at this point of the race that my front left is definitely starting to feel the effects of this Grand Prix. Just because it's 10 laps doesn't mean that these tires are meant to go 100. And, you know, me sending it into these corners is definitely taking a toll on them. As you see right here, I'm kind of noticing I got to take this corner a little bit slower. You see me go all the way down to 89 miles an hour there when I was taking it at 96 at one point. The front left is starting to feel the effects. That's something I'm going to take into consideration here. Maybe not soon enough as the third-person replay comes back up, meaning something's going to happen. Braking hard into 4th gear. Miss the apex a little bit. Get on the grass. Save it. Keep it controlled. And it would appear that the gap that second place gave to us might come right back with that mistake right there. If he's on it, and it looks like he is, we are going to have to keep our heads down for one more lap. That's the way that we have to think about this, one lap at a time. No point in thinking about the final lap if we don't make it there. One lap at a time is the name of the game. We're learning a lot this weekend. Hopefully we can keep it together and keep this first place one more time down the front straight. We're going to come screaming over the line. And now, just like usual, we need to find our line. You see, once again, coming into this downhill right turn, this is a tricky one. We've gotten it somewhat okay for this entire weekend, but, you know, one mistake there can put sand on your tires and send it into a wall, as we learned the hard way. But now you see we're taking this a lot more cautiously. It's all about finding that balance between consistently staying on track, but going as fast as possible. And look at that, up almost 2/10 in this corner. One more time down this little mini straight into the late apex turn. We're going to hunt, brake a little bit before that last sign so you can get it down in a third, turn in. Maybe a little bit less speed was needed so we could easily get that apex. And as you see, the timer's going down once again. But we are pretty much even with our fastest lap at the moment. Decent pace. You see the separation between us and the pack on that top part of the HUD. And let's see one more time. Down this long back straight. Brake a little bit past the line. Into fifth gear. Find that apex. As soon as you hit it, you can get on the gas and just charge out of it. And then, like clockwork, hard braking into fourth. Send it around this corner. And y'all know what is going on at this point, right? We're just going to see how consistently we can get to it. Try to use a little bit more track because you know the end is near. You can smell it. It's right there. You get very close to the grass there, but that's all about us being comfortable. We know we're not going to hit it, so we're going to keep our foot planted. One more time through this slow and fast out part of the track, down this little mini straight into the last corner. We are up a 10th on our fastest lap, braking hard into the final turn. Fourth gear, find that apex as close as we can, get on the gas. And we're losing a little bit of time. Could have taken that faster, but it looks like we might actually have our own fastest lap yet again. We know what is at stake here. Keep your head down. We're front of the pack. That's one less lap we got to think about. And now, coming into what should be the last lap of this race, all we have to do is keep it on the track, keep the pack away from us, and we will have our first victory in our first race weekend. Let's see what we do here. It's all about playing it safe. I know what's at stake here. I'm seeing all of this information live. I know. Last lap, you have first place. You've got a decent gap to second. Just keep it on the track, and you will be fine. You see, I'm being a lot more careful coming through these sections right here. I could have kept more speed, but I know the gap that I've made for myself. No need to risk anything. As once again, coming into this late apex turn, braking way before the last board to make sure that we get slowed down enough. Coming into this back straight one more time, you see we're being very, very cautious as we're down about 6/10 to 7/10 to our fastest lap, but we don't care. What doesn't matter is our times. What matters is our position at this point. One more time, for the last time, down the back straight, brake hard into fifth gear, make sure we get the car slowed down and turned in, get on the gas once we know we've made it. Now down a second to our fastest lap, and the gap to second is closing just a little bit, but it does not matter. We know the time that we have. One more time, through this uphill section into the blind right-hander. We're going to get ready, find our position, hard on the brakes, into fourth, send it around the corner. We know we're going to make that one. Now we're down about a second and 3/10. One more time into the second corner. Slow in, hit that apex, fast out, down the back straight for the final time. We're going to go under the Brands hatch. Brake hard before you see that little section of the track there, into fourth. A little bit of understeer, could have gotten it slowed down a little bit better. And now we're going to floor it. And look at this. For the last time, we will go around Brands hatch, and we are victorious in our first race weekend.
Look at that. First place in your first race. Definitely wasn't the easiest race, but you held your head high and you got through it all. We are super proud of you. Way to end your first weekend. Let's keep this energy for the rest of the championship, and I know we can come out on top.
That's right. You guys heard the pit chief. Sounds a lot like me. Turns out the secret to getting signed to a racing team is just nepotism, because that guy sounds exactly like me. But all jokes aside, fantastic race weekend from us. Definitely many ways we can improve. We know we have to stay strong with consistency. We got to learn to manage that understeer, and we have to try and not get very lucky by clipping a wall and coming away with no damage. But overall, a great race weekend because we won. Coming down the back straight one time on the cool down lap, you see the pack is right behind me when you get little clips of the rear view mirror, but super, super stoked to come away with a win. I cannot wait for the next race weekend. All right, y'all, as we pull into the pits for the final time this weekend with the victory, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for tuning in for the first real career mode episode of this rFactor series. I love learning this game. I really think it has a lot of potential to improve my skill and to be some entertaining content for you guys. And once again, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate everything. I appreciate y'all watching the video. And if you have anything to ask, anything that you liked in the video, feel free to comment down below. And I will see y'all in the next one.